Hello, people. What is going on? Welcome back to the After Hours show here on E20 Zone TV. Before I get started, I just want to say one thing. Fuck Facebook. Waste of time wankers, mate. I'm just going to say that. They have banned me again. They can all fuck off. Mark Zuckerberg, what his fucking name is, can go and fucking get shot, the prick. That's from me, right? To my right is Jay, and down the bottom there is the audio man, Mitchell Hicks. Mitch, how are you doing, mate?
All right now. I was very stressed out a minute ago, but all good.
I know, mate. Audio, Mitchell.
The delay on the video was me on the stream. I'm really sorry, everyone.
100%. Jay, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, if anyone's looking for any production specialists or any tech specialists, hit up Mitchell. Like the last 15 minutes have been an event, a hell of an event. I wish Chad could have been there to see him, but yeah, otherwise all good, mate, all good.
Do you know what? We know how to meme on this channel. We do. Like me and Mitch, like we're vibing just a minute ago.
Just quickly, I rewatched the other day. I randomly thought of the video clip of, I think it's Mitch's mum walking in the background of a video, and I scrolled through E20's own TV on Twitter and found it and was absolutely in bits. So if anyone at chat's not seen that video, go and find it, because it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see.
That, and when Alfie thought he see a ghost, that was hilarious.
That was really fucking weird, wasn't it? That was really weird, that was. I forgot about
that. It still carries on. It still carries on. Right, boys. Mitch, I'll start off with you. Weekend, Man City, thoughts?
I thought the atmosphere was slightly better than what has been usually. I thought, but that's about as good as it gets, really. The atmosphere just with the ground. What do I think? I thought it wasn't too bad, you know. I thought it was alright. The first half, I didn't think it was as bad as everyone made out to be. Some people said it was a car crash. I thought it weren't great, but it wasn't as bad as I think it could have been. Second half, we were a lot more in the game. I think it was a lot better. Trying to hit him on the break a bit more, trying to play to our advantages, and also keeping the ball better, because Greta had a shocking first half, especially. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I think individual errors and individual performances are the reasons why we lost the game and done all right in the end. I think Mavropanos again just didn't have a great game. To be fair, not again. He's had a decent season so far, his first 3 games. I thought City was pretty poor.
Oh, Graham, you've stitched me up, mate. Mitch, aka Bez, is back from Happy Mondays. Shout out to Bez. Listen, I agree. Jay, you come on the sort of player ratings in the evening. Any thoughts since Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I had come fresh from the game, hadn't I? And I watched it back on Match of the Day. Obviously, in traditional Match of the Day style, they did not mention West Ham at all in the analysis. Because, in fairness, like the more you look at it, the crazier Man City actually are. What Pep does with that side, I still cannot understand how he does what he did on the weekend. 2 things when I look back. The main one being I'd fought on Paqueta quite a lot, because my initial thought was that he dropped an absolute stinker. Then I thought about it a bit more and thought maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought. Then I think it was Brian in the chat said he didn't think he'd given it away that much. We looked at some stats and he actually hadn't, in the grand scheme of things, given it away that often. And some of the clips that I've seen and some of the bits that I've seen are mainly in the second half of Paqueta actually progressing the ball really well and him being at the start of some of our counter-attacks. So I'm sort of softening my stance on what Paqueta's done. I don't think he's been anywhere near the player that we know he's capable of in the first 4 games that we've seen, albeit he only had a cameo against Bournemouth.
Don't let people deter you from the eye test. It's the most important thing. Seriously.
Yeah. This is the thing. And football's not a game of stats, right? And which is why I'm with you, Mitch. Like, again, I've thought about the first half and albeit the goals were errors that were avoidable. We had Erling Haaland being an absolute freak, which he is. But like positionally and organisationally, I thought we did really well in a game that we weren't going to get a lot of the ball. Yeah, we didn't really see much of it in the first half. We were very good in the second, but we did well to keep it at sort of only 2 goals, to keep it at 2-1 at half time, I thought, considering how well City were playing and how mismatched our formation was. So, yeah, it was interesting to see it back and kind of soften my stance a little bit on a couple of things. The Emerson pass to Paqueta as well. It's so 50-50. It's like you can't like lay blame at either of their doors. I don't think.
I think it was very 50-50.
Yeah, Paqueta should have done more to get there. Emerson shouldn't have played such a crap ball. Like it's as simple as that. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons to be positive from that, and we should hopefully come back from the international break absolutely cooking.
What do you make of Julian Lopetegui's first 4 games? 3 in the Prem, 1 in the League Cup. Like, what are you saying? And I'll say this to the chat and all. It'd be interesting to see because now, like, we've seen a bit of him. What have you made of him, Mitch?
Hard to understand his interviews, which really bugs me. And yeah, it's one of my biggest things. I was trying to watch the Sky Sports interview where he had today about settling life in London, and I'm watching it thinking, this needs subtitles. Because I was trying to, what was I doing? I got back from work, I stuck at the side, trying to get unchanged. Whilst listening to it, I'm thinking, I don't know what he's saying. And I was really getting wound up.
Oh, Brexit Mitch there.
Yeah. Truthfully, though, I don't know how to feel. It's very early days. I've seen good signs. I've seen bad signs. I've seen good substitutions. I've seen shit substitutions. So hard to judge. I think.
I got a question, Mitch. What do you think of his clobber?
He wears nice trainers.
Like, yeah, not bad. Better than Moyes.
He does wear some good gear. I've got to give him that.
He does.
Yeah, nicer than Moyes.
Right, let me sort of say my bit on him. I feel that there is something there with Lopetegui that's better than the previous regime. Right, that's a given straight away. The only issue I've got is that sometimes his tactics are getting him out of trouble in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? Like on Saturday against Man City, for me, we could have easily been 4-0 down. Right, he changes it at half time, and then we look a completely different side. And I'm thinking, well, why did you not do that when you could see that there was
same against Palace as well?
And the same thing happened against Palace to a point. I agree. The striker situation at the minute, I just can't work it out. I really can't. I really can't work out why we've signed Nicholas Füllkrug. He's sitting on the bench, and we've got a 34-year-old Mikel Antonio up front running around like a nutcase.
Do you think he had a good game? Because I'm interested. Because I've seen loads of people say he had a good game. Loads of people say it was terrible.
Yeah.
I lie slightly more on the side of he was poor.
Poor.
Yeah. Did you think it was shit?
Yeah. Like, I'm not being funny, right? I could go and get Jared Bowen to do what Antonio done the other night.
And more, because I thought his pressing was really shit. And against City, when you're pushing that high, because there were times where we pushed high up to press City.
Yeah.
If you're going to press City, you've got to go with that. You can't just half it off them, because they'll just play around us. And they did at times. And there was times when Antonio really should have, I thought, closed the defenders down quicker. Obviously, that's his fitness. I understand he can't do that at his age. And he's not that type of player. But then, then play a different system, play a different way.
Yeah. I'm not convinced on it, Mitch. Like, for me personally, right, this is a new era at West Ham, but we've still got the same centre forward that we had last year and the year before that. Do you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Mikel Antonio. I don't want it to be like a dig at Mikel Antonio, but you need to sort of ease him out. But at the minute, we're relying him up front because we've got no one else. Like the Nicholas Füllkrug thing, I see someone saying today about it. Oh, it's all the youngsters. No, it ain't all the fucking youngsters. I'm 37 years old, and I'm saying he ain't right. Do you know what I'm saying? So it ain't all the youngsters saying it about him. Nicholas Füllkrug, for me, has to start the next game against Fulham. He has to, right? If you want to bring this geezer in, you can't keep saying you got to give him time, and then not play him. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Because you could ruin the player by keep playing him as a sub. Jay, what are you saying?
Yeah, I was going to say two things. First of all, we'll come back to that divide in the fan base between like the older generation of fans versus what they perceive as the new generation of fans, because that's an interesting topic in itself. I think one thing that I always think about if we look at the first 4 games as a whole, what we've had Antonio start up front in 3 out of 4 of them. Füllkrug started against Bournemouth, didn't do a lot, but he didn't get much of the ball. He's made cameo appearances off the bench. He's not had a lot of time to get into games. I've talked before about what I perceive from Julian Lopetegui in his first 4 games as pragmatism. And he's had to be pragmatic in his first 4 games to an extent to basically avoid getting stuffed. Because let's face it, if we had tried to come in and play the way we did against City in the first 2 games, Villa would have pumped us and Palace would have pumped us. And what I mean by that is the press clearly wasn't quite working in the first couple of games. Our passing out was non-existent. We were just kind of smashing it up to the top at Souček. And it's not, and there was this question that a lot of us were asking, which was, what is actually Souček's role going to be in the future for this team? There's a lot of people that were saying, well, Lopetegui clearly likes him and he's a part of the plans and this is going to be the style, like Souček's going to play in the 10. But I was sitting there going, I don't think that's the case. I really don't. And we saw against City, if there was ever a game where you play Thomas Souček and you play a low block and you just try and feed off the scraps, that was the game you start him in. And he didn't. And he made a big call. He dropped Souček. He played Alvarez and Rodriguez in the double pivot. Again, we talked about how I thought he got it wrong initially, but then he changed it and put Alvarez as the halfback, Rodriguez as probably a 6, and Paqueta as more of an 8. And it worked. It was fantastic. We outplayed City for a good half hour, 35 minutes of that game. And there's no one can dissuade me from that. So I think what we're seeing is we are seeing evolution in the tactics. I'm confident that Füllkrug will settle. He still isn't fully fit. He still had, he played, what did Germany get to the quarterfinals in the Euros? So he didn't have a pre-season really with Dortmund. He barely kicked the ball for West Ham. And he's probably only going to get fully fit after the international break. So after the international break, I hope that he starts against Fulham. I think that's the right kind of game to put him in. And I'm confident he's going to start to show people what he can offer. The last kind of thing I would say on this is the way that we attacked in terms of actual fluidity. I rewatched some of the passing moves that we had in that second half, and they look unbelievable. The way the boys knocked the ball around and actually just bypassed City's midfield at times was beautiful. And that is where you'll need a Füllkrug who's willing to drop off of his last man, drop off of the centre-backs, get in between the lines, and just play the link-up ball. He did that against Bournemouth. Somerville dropped off. He played it toward Prowse. He made the third man run. Wore Prowse to Füllkrug. He flicked it around the corner and Somerville was in. And Somerville finished it like he'd never seen a football before. So I think the signs are there. We will get there. Let's try and be patient and give the club, give Lopetegui a few more games to actually bed these players in. Remember, we still haven't seen Todibo start a Premier League game as well. So if this is West Ham, still nowhere near their best, I'm very happy, and I think there's a lot of signs for positivity moving forward.
Well said. I agree.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think Lopetegui is going to start against Fulham. I just don't feel we've seen anything of him to warrant the start. Do you know what I'm saying? I think there's a problem up front. I think there's a problem with Lucas Paqueta at the minute. I think he's getting away with murder, and people are just sort of bypassing it because he's Brazilian and he smells a lot. Like, for me, I've not seen, like with Lopetegui, I've seen the progressive play and us moving the ball up the pitch. I think we look good. I think we look very good, especially on the counter attack the other day. I thought, fuck me, we look very, very good, right? Defensively, a little suspect still in key areas, right? But that's going to come in time. But Wan-Bissaka being right back is going to give us some firepower from that side. He's going to get us up that pitch and away from danger. And I think Alvarez playing there as a sort of makeshift centre half to a point was really good also. I don't know about you, Mitch, but I thought him keep dropping into that sort of centre half position, sweeper position, I thought was excellent. Right, I
thought he was good. I liked it. He covered the pitch well.
Yeah.
I still personally think I'm really not sold on Rodriguez. I feel like I'm being gaslighted at times, honestly.
Why?
I feel like everyone's saying, "Oh, he's been amazing. What a signing!" And I'm looking and thinking he's had 3 very average games, and I feel like everyone's just blowing smoke right up his arse. I haven't seen it yet. He's not covering the pitch well. He don't dominate in midfield. He plays some all right long balls, good long balls, I'll say. But that's about it. I don't really see him. He's quite slow on the ball. He's very slow on the ball. Looks very stiff at times. No, he's been alright, but I feel like just everyone's just going well over the fucking top on him. And I spoke to Alfie about yesterday because I messaged. I kept seeing loads of stuff yesterday about Rodriguez being amazing signing. I messaged Alfie about it because I like to see Alfie's opinion on things. And he said to me, "Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mitch. Like, it feels like he's been gaslighted as well." And I was really confused. Getting better with each game.
I think he's not bad.
He's not bad. He's not bad. But you know, him and Alvarez in midfield for the rest of the season. People are saying will get us top 4. Mate, I don't think he's that great in midfield. Fucking hell.
Nah. I think we've got more of a problem with Paqueta than we have with Rodriguez.
That's the thing. I think you need someone. I think you do need more like consistent. Well, obviously we need to see how Soler pans out. I don't know enough. Obviously, I know he's had a poor couple of seasons apparently, but it could be the one to pair with Alvarez. We'll see. Because I think we do need more mobility going through midfield. Again, our midfield still ain't great in terms of taking the ball and using it and running with it. I feel like Soler would be able to do that better than. Well, I know he'd be able to do that better than Rodriguez, but it depends on what his other aspects of the game are.
I think just on that, you just got to bear in mind the games that he's played so far. He was pretty poor against Villa, but the whole first half against Villa, we were shocking, and we got like absolutely bypassed through midfield. There was nobody who really played well in that first half against Villa, so I'll give you that. He didn't play well that game. Against Palace, he improved a bit. But
then Alvarez come on, an injured Alvarez, and outshined him straight away, I thought.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to it, Mitch. Don't worry, we'll get there.
I'm just trying to say, I'm not saying to you, I'm saying to everyone that's fucking like rimming the geezer.
I know. I'd like to think that I'm going to be the voice of reason in this argument, Mitch. Don't worry. What I would say is he then, against Palace, he was all right. I thought he was okay. Again, I agree with you. I didn't think he was anything special. But then against City, when his partner in crime is his bro Alvarez, they know each other very well, and we got blown away in the first half. That second half, he was still involved in a lot of those passing moves to get up the pitch, and we didn't dominate that City team for at least half an hour, with him as a passenger. He still played a big part in that. So if that's 3 games into your Premier League career, when he's just signed and he's never played a Premier League game before, again, the signs are positive. I think there's a tendency for us as fans to look at a player within 2 games and say, well, I haven't seen this that they were supposed to give. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this. I don't know. Which is valid to go, I haven't seen enough yet. But I wouldn't necessarily say that he's been rubbish. I wouldn't necessarily say he's not.
And I'm not saying that. I'm just looking at his attributes and how they fit in our team in the future. I can't personally see that alongside Alvarez as a long-term thing, sustainability-wise.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not saying it's bad at all. And I'm not saying that he's been bad. I'm just saying people are saying he's been a really good sign already. Yeah. And I just think that's just a bit stupid to say. I think.
Yeah, I can get what you're saying. I can, because if you do look at all the games, if you take each game individually and isolate each one, the Villa game, we were shit. In the first half, we were shit, right? And we could have easily been 2 or 3-0 down there, right? Before we got the penalty, yeah? They hit the post, etc. Anyway, cut long story short, we come back and it ends up, we lose the game in the end, right? The Palace game's the same thing again, also, right? And I think people look at the result, but they don't look at the overall aspect of the game, right? Which sometimes I think you have to have a look at the overall aspect of it and then judge it on that. But we get the result, right? Even against Bournemouth the other night, like this is against Bournemouth's second string side, we was poor, and my issue is not really with Rodriguez because I think Rodriguez is a sort of covering player. Yeah, people think he's going to come in and start consistently. I don't think so. I personally think Souček will come in. It'd be Souček, Alvarez, and Paqueta. That's what I think it is. Or it'd be Soler, Alvarez, Paqueta.
I personally would like to test. I think we should test that In fact, again, if Soler isn't disciplined defensively enough or isn't good enough straight up, then find another option. But I
Yeah.
think we should look to get Soler in that midfield with Alvarez personally.
Yeah, right. So you got to look. You got to take it on that, right? And what you're saying about Rodriguez is valid because it's exactly what I'm saying about Füllkrug. And people look at the name and go, Nicholas Füllkrug, look what he's done. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I don't think you're up for this, mate. I really don't. I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, right, as a centre forward, and I don't like to go back in on this geezer, but this really fucking winds me up with some people. I mean, really does, right? And I will debate anyone on this. And the one thing I will say about this window, Tim Steidten, the one thing that he did get wrong in the end was the Duran deal, because that Duran deal should have been done, right? And he should have made sure he got that one over the line, because Duran scored 2 in 2 now, and he's fucking on fire, the kid. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, Füllkrug just doesn't. It feels like a stopgap signing rather than a long-term signing. And if you've got Mikel
really
Antonio there,
don't kick us back in the teeth. That missing out on Duran there, because I'm a bit worried. I think he could have a really good season.
I'll tell you what. This is what I can see happening. Right? No, honestly, someone said it in the chat earlier. Oh, you just want Bowen up front. I do, because I trust Bowen up front. Simple as that. I just trust Bowen up front. No, I know full well that he will give 150% every game, and he will press from the front. What I can see happening
is the team benefited mostly, I thought, last year when he was up front.
And do you know what?
He had a really good run of form, didn't he? Really good run of form.
He did, right? And we're better. I think we're better defensively now. With Wan-Bissaka there, with Kilman there, I think you can press from the front with Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, and Somerville, and not have to worry, and not have to worry as such. Yeah. So for me, I know what's going to happen. Antonio's going to consistently start. He's going to give Füllkrug the game against Liverpool. This is what I believe is going to happen. We're going to go out of that competition because we ain't beat Liverpool at the Anfield, because we never do. And then it's going to be bit part between the two of them all the way up to Christmas. And eventually,
I actually think Füllkrug might start against Fulham. You know,
I don't think he does, mate.
Start him.
I don't know whether Antonio's got international with Jamaica or anything. If he hasn't, Antonio's starting. Right, I think he'll look at it, he'll go, right, we'll go with our tried and tested. And that's the one position that if I'd have asked you boys this a year ago and said to you, right, what is the one main position that Tim Steiden's got to find for West Ham United moving forward? I think both of you probably would have said centre forward to replace Antonio.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's me.
And he hasn't done it. Bless him at all. What are you saying, Jay?
I err on the side of, like, we've still got to give him a bit of time, Füllkrug. I agree with you. I really hope Duran doesn't come back to haunt us, because, and I said at the time, we didn't get Duran. We moved on to Füllkrug. We got Füllkrug over the line pretty quickly, and then that freed up funds to go and get Somerville as well. So you would hope that in the grand scheme of things, Füllkrug comes good and scores, let's hope, like 10 goals this season as a minimum. And then we'll all be sitting there going, yeah, cool, he's done his job. And that Somerville kicks on and becomes the left winger that we need, because we haven't had a proper left winger in years. The last one we signed was Ben Rama, and he was so inconsistent that he didn't really fill the job of a prodigy coming from the Championship, which is what we signed. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm still happy with the signing of Füllkrug. I still want to see, I agree with you, I want to see more from him. But I think once he's fully fit, he will get there. And I've said before, it's a 2-year project. We've got to look at it this way. Like, the fact that he's managed to, like, between Steiden and Lopetegui, they've managed to gut the squad and replace it with a lot of quality in a lot of positions. You look at that back four now, as I've said before, that is top quality, that back four. And Emerson, who was our strongest defender last year, is now our weakest defender. And not because he's changed as a player, but because we've signed 3 top quality players to play alongside him. So you look at that and you've got to take your hat off to Steiden and Lopetegui and say, that's a hell of a rebuild in the first summer. But now the proof's in the pudding. We've actually got to see this team kick off. I think it's too early for me to be expecting too much from these players. I think we've seen really, really good signs. I agree Füllkrug needs to do more, but every game, like, he's going to get stronger, he's going to get fitter, he's going to get more used to it. He's shown me signs of what he can do. I agree he needs to deliver it consistently over the course of a game, and I hope he starts against Fulham. I agree with you, I don't think he will, but it seems like the right time for us to put him in and see what he can do.
I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced. I really am not. I look at it and I think he's gonna go back to type. I can guarantee it. Right, I'd have money on it. He will go back probably October international break. Mark my words. He will go back and you go right. This ain't working with these two. I'm going to go with Bowen up front. Now I'm going to put a question to the pair of you guys, and I'm going to put a question in for the chat also. Right, with Aaron Wan-Bissaka as right back, do we really need Bowen on the right now? When you've got Mohamed Kudus on the who is very good, extremely good, powerful player. You stick him on the right, you stick Bowen up front, because you don't need that defensive cover now. Bowen hasn't got to keep tracking back for Soufal anymore. Because
He hasn't been tracking back as much this season.
He was tracking back the other day, mate.
No, but it's not as much.
Yeah.
He was proper like run his arse off under Moyes to track back, but I don't think he's not been as much. I think he's focused more on, which I'm glad. I'm glad because I want him in and around the area more now. He is our biggest goal threat.
Like for me, I just feel that Mo on the left, that's definitely got to change.
That's got to stop 100%. I think it's a big problem as well. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
I agree, mate.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. It's just how much are you losing out from Bowen when you take him off of the right and put him in the centre? Because the problem we've got is we've got two top quality right wingers who you lose some of their attributes when you take them out of right wing. And if you can find a way of getting Kudus into the middle, then I think Bowen on the right, Kudus in the middle is something that we need to do.
Yeah, I'd much rather do that as well.
Yeah, I would as well. It's just whether it's whether the manager sees the right opportunity to do that.
So if that's the case, and you're saying Mo centrally, are you saying?
I would like to see Mo play centrally. Yeah.
Right. So you got Mo centrally, you got Bowen on the right. Who's going on the left then? Because
Somerville or Paqueta. I personally would like to see Somerville given a go now.
So would I. Like, do you know what? I could accept that if it was Somerville, Kudus, and Bowen, and then you got a centre forward up front in Antonio or Füllkrug. I think fair enough. Yeah, but I do think you need pace on either flank. I think Somerville, for me, I feel sorry for him to a point. I really do, because I think he's a very good player, and he's sitting on the bench. And the other day, I didn't understand that one. He comes on for 5 minutes. Like, I know they just scored when he was about to come on, which is a shame. But 5 minutes, like, really, like, yeah, I mean, I think he's better than that.
I really like the boy, and I really want him to do well and start playing there regularly.
Did you see just a very quick thing? Did you see that he spoke to Calvin Phillips before he joined, and Calvin Phillips said how great the club is and that he'd fit in really well. So it's just another example, right, of Calvin Phillips. I just wanted to very quickly touch on this. He was obviously a disaster at West Ham. He didn't, and I do have a bit of sympathy for him. He didn't turn up and deliberately play badly. He was just out of practice. He was out of form. He was unfit. And he came in and he tried and he was just rubbish. Like, it wasn't his fault. And then there's people like when he gets his move to Ipswich, hoping that he fails and hoping that he does badly and disrespecting him on the timeline. And I'm like, you don't know anything about this bloke. And when he swore at the fan when he got on the bus, there's that fan, some virgin had sat there for 3 hours and waited for the team to get on the bus just so that he could abuse Calvin Phillips. Which, for my right, if I left my office after a hard day's work and someone abused me, I'd have done a hell of a lot more than just put my middle finger up at him. And so for me, Calvin Phillips was fully in the right there. And you look now at the fact that somebody's asked his opinion of the club and he said nothing but good things for the club. And we've signed a top quality player that we all hope does really well. So it just goes to show, like, before you start disrespecting people, I know Mitch has got certain things to say about certain Czech Republic players on our team. So
who also was a disgrace when he come on.
But it just goes to show, like,
he was bad, mate. Yeah, mate. This love affair that people have with Soufal.
Oh, it's embarrassing. I hate it, man.
It's like, really don't get me wrong, right? If that's Mohamed Kudus, right, and he's leaving us, then I'm gonna cry. Yeah, but if that is Vladimir Soufal, right, I'm not really that bothered, mate. I think he's been a good servant to West Ham, right, and I always remember him.
He has been a very good servant.
Yeah, but look who he replaced, though, Mitch. Fucking Ryan Fredericks. Right, we had Ryan Fredericks,
Yeah.
and then we brought in Soufal. It's not exactly like levels, is it? Fuck me, Ryan Fredericks. We're done with run.
Can I just say something, right? Because I put something on Twitter yesterday, and I got a bit of not a bit of backlash, but there's a couple of people who commented on it, right? So, and you can follow me on Twitter if you want more top quality football opinions like this. At j.whu. You can follow Mitch on Twitter if you want more anti-Czech rhetoric. So I put this thing on Twitter yesterday, and I doubled down on it today, and I'm about to triple down on it, right? I said Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best fullback I've ever seen play in a West Ham shirt. I first went to a game in 1999, and I had this is so the older generation of fans who decided to comment on it, who went, "You've not supported a club long, then have you?" I'm like, well, I've supported a club long enough, thank you very much. I've watched a lot of fullbacks at West Ham, and I have not seen anybody anywhere near as technically gifted, as talented one-on-one defensively, and as progressive and talented on the ball as Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, a question for chat, and like anybody is free to put any name in chat since the year, we'll call it 2000 for a round number, since the year 2000, name any fullback who has been better than Aaron Wan-Bissaka for West Ham United.
I would name one.
Go on.
Who is up there, and he did win stuff. Glenn Johnson. I thought Glenn Johnson.
So, and I thought this. I looked at it. Do you know how many games he played for West Ham United?
I didn't know.
Yeah, but I'm looking on as a player. Yeah, I'm not looking on what he done at West Ham.
I'm talking in a West Ham shirt.
I
agree with you. Glenn Johnson had a great career and was a brilliant
Paul Konchesky.
Pablo Armero.
This is the point. I see the name Thomas Repka in chat. Like, I had that on Twitter, right? And I was like, I'm not having Thomas Repka as good as Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm not having it. The bloke had more like police charges, prison sentences than he had good games for West Ham United. So I'm not having Thomas Repka. I loved him. He was a hero, but I'm not having him.
He's the best. I'm going to be honest. He's up there for being one of the best players that we've had for a long time. Right. Listen, we need someone in these positions who can defend first and attack
Emerson,
later.
to be fair, is a good shot.
But not as good as Wan-Bissaka. This is the point. There's been good fullbacks, but you look at some of the absolute dross that we've had at fullback over the years. And you just said it, James. You look at the right backs that we've had over the last few years. We've had Vladimir Soufal, who's been a great servant for the club. Guy Demel, put some respect on Guy Demel's name. Remember Herita Ilunga?
Mate, I remember fucking George McCarthy and Joey O'Brien, mate.
I was there, 1-1 against Bolton, and George McCartney scores a flying scissor kick to equalise against Bolton. So I got no issue with any of these players. There's been some good players, but nobody can name a fullback as good as Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Like, I'm not having it.
For value, I agree, 100%.
We've never had luck, though. We've always been very unlucky with
we have.
fullbacks.
I'm not being funny. When I look at, you've also got to say Cresswell to a point. Like when Cresswell arrived from Ipswich, I thought he was a very good signing. And you've also got to look at the value and all. Mm-hmm. Like the value comes into account here, and you look at the sort of value, the longevity. Like Wan-Bissaka signed a 7-year deal. If we sell him, we're going to sell him for more than what we paid for him. Because I think he's. I said it before. I say it with chest all the time. Yeah, that he's the best signing in the summer window for me by country mile. Like for value, for quality, for longevity, he is going to be the one where I look at and think, "Fuck me, what a signing that we've got." So I agree. I agree to a point. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. Mitch, you got anyone off the top of your head?
What, better than Wan-Bissaka? No, not really.
Not really, no.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not getting carried away here because everyone's like, "Oh, you say that after 3 games," was one of the comments I got. I do, because you can recognise when someone is so talented in front of you. I'm not saying he's achieved loads at West Ham. I'm not saying that he's had a great career at West Ham. But at the same time, I'm saying in the last 25 years, he is technically the most talented player at fullback that I've seen in a West Ham shirt. And it's cut and dry, by the way. Some honourable mentions in the chat.
I agree with this.
Jonathan Spector, what a player. Right, so this is a thing, right? Potts, Dixon, Lampard Senior. I never saw them play. I never saw them play. I can't comment on any of those players. Dixie, obviously, I've got a signed Julian Dick shirt behind me. He was my idol, but I was about 3 years old when he was playing for West Ham, so I never actually saw him.
I can speak on this. I see Potts play growing up. Wan-Bissaka's a better player. Julian Dix, he's one of my idols. Him and Di Canio are the 2 players where I look at them and I love the passion in them, and that's one of the main reasons why I supported West Ham United. Also, otherwise I was going to be homeless, so I had a choice. For me, Wan-Bissaka is better than all of them on there. He just is. He just is. He's better going forward. He's better defensively. He's a better all-round player. Now, if you want to take it out of the Premier League and you go to Frank Lampard Senior, I can't vouch for that because I never see him play. But the other two I did see play, and Wan-Bissaka's a better player, mate. He just is. He just simply is.
This is
so.
I've got no problem appreciating older players, but this is the thing when you talk about the older generation of West Ham fan who get very, very. There's certain people who get very, very defensive about the older days of West Ham, and I feel for you. You lived through if you lived through West Ham in the 80s, you saw some unbelievable things. But at the same time, I can't comment on that. So don't come at me saying all these names and my opinion is not valid because I've watched West Ham for 25 years.
Do you know what? I can't stand that when I hear that, where people say, "Oh, your opinion's not valid because
that really winds me up as well.
Yeah,
that really winds me up.
Because I look here, I've seen all these errors. I've seen the 90s era. I've seen the noughties era. I've seen us go down and get relegated and lose all our players. I've seen a lot of shit over the years. Do you know what I'm saying? And these are the same people that would be turning around and saying about the fucking trophy win the other last year, saying, "No, it's only a fucking tin pot trophy," and that's coming from our own fans. So you've got to put it into perspective. For me, he is very good. Right, before we move on to obviously these up and coming signings that we might have, Lopetegui, give me a rating out of 10 so far for him, Jay.
So to summarise it, I when we did the sort of pre-season preview, I thought we weren't going to get a single point from the first three. I genuinely thought we'd lose all 3 games. You look at the nature of the loss to Villa, not great. Banging win against Crystal Palace. There was a lot of criticisms for certain things, but we still picked up a win. We then won in the cup. It was ugly, but we won, and we put in a great performance against Man City. We're still bedding in players who have just signed. We've still got players who aren't fully fit. I'm going to say probably a high 7 for me, maybe even pushing an 8. He's done everything that we've asked of him and more, in my opinion. And we've still got trajectory to go better. So, yeah, I'm going to say high 7. Probably. You know what? I'm going to say 8. 8 for me.
Mitch, what are you saying?
High 6 for me.
I
thought the tactics and the setup for the Bournemouth game was an absolute disgrace, and that affects the rating for me. Thank you, Exponential. I thought the way we looked to set up in the first half against City was wrong. I thought the first half that we tried to set up against Villa was wrong, and against Palace, and he has changed it. So I'll give him the benefit of that. But at the end of the day, he still made that error, and he still made the error of playing that midfield against Bournemouth, which was just a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And I thought we should have played a slightly different system.
Just remind me, Mitch, what was the score in that game?
It's Bournemouth.
Yeah,
1-0.
1-0.
Ah, okay. So we did win.
I honestly believe any Championship side would have beaten Bournemouth that day. I thought Bournemouth were horrific.
Right, I'll go next. I agree with you, Mitch, 100%. I6 for me, and I'll tell you the reasons why. I think if you look at all 4 games individually and go, right, Villa, Palace, Bournemouth, Man City, right, I feel that we're a work in progress, but there is still issues there. Do you know what I mean? The Lucas Paqueta thing is an issue for me. Like, he does not get half as much stick as some of the other men in his side, and he'll go and give away the ball 17 times and cost us 3 goals, but no one to mention it because they love Lucas Paqueta. Put us on the left, problem straight away. I don't like him on the left. I think you're asking for trouble there. Like, he's our best dribbler. He's one of the best dribblers in the Premier League, and he's on the left-hand side. I think the Bournemouth game, I was expecting West Ham to come out and fucking go to town on Bournemouth and roll them out the ground. And let's have it right. We nicked a 1-0 win in the end. Like, we nicked it. Yeah. So we've got to be real, right? I think that the sort of progression of Kilman's been very good. I've got to be honest. I've got to take an L on that. I was like, fuck me. I didn't see him becoming this good, but he is. Obviously, the sign of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I felt like the Crystal Palace game, is a toss of a coin job, really. If
I
they
really think I stand by this. I really think he should have started that game. And Sufar showed how poor he was in the first half.
yeah,
He was destroyed in the first
yeah.
half against Palace.
And I just look at it and I feel he's working towards something. Yeah, it hasn't been amazing, but I can see developments. Desmond says, "Come on, James, get off Paqueta's back, mate. I say what I see, and I see it. I say it, and that's what it is. Fucking Ted Rogers. Do you know what I mean? I can't sit there and go, Lucas Paqueta's been great because he hasn't. He simply
I'm one of
hasn't, mate.
Paqueta's honestly biggest fans, and I think he's been a bit of a disgrace. Honestly, I think he's been really shit.
What game, Mitch, for you? What game for you has done it for you? Like you looked at it and thought, fucking hell.
What for Paqueta?
Yeah.
It's slow. It's been each game. I actually think each game, slowly but surely. Bournemouth, he was alright when he come on. To be fair, but all the every game in the Premier League, I've been very unimpressed.
Is it the position? Is his position wrong?
I don't know. He's not on it. He's not sharp. His passing has been a lot worse than it can be. He's been giving away a lot of sloppy passes. His over the top dinks as well have been that he likes to do have been wasteful. Yeah.
Can I just say on that to DMH's comment that just flashed up on the screen is exactly right, and the Bournemouth game is 100% like the evidence that we need to show that Lopetegui in that game, and the reason I've got no problem with how we won the Bournemouth game is he gave Souček and Ward-Prowse an opportunity in that game. You think Alvarez was on his game back from injury, Souček had his chance to basically play in it was a flat 3 in that game, wasn't it? And Ward-Prowse had his chance. It was, if you want to play for West Ham this season, go out and show me you deserve to play for West Ham this season. And as Lucas said, the word to describe his performance in that game was just passive. He wasn't bad, he wasn't good. He just didn't grab the ball by the horns. So what happened was Paqueta came on, we brought the big guns out, and suddenly we were cutting through them. And again, it wasn't pretty. We didn't roll them out the park like perhaps we should have. On our day, I think we've got a team that's far superior to theirs. But at the same time, he come on and he had the spark, and we ended up winning the game 1-0. And in the cup, as long as you win a game, it doesn't really matter, does it? So I agree with you. He's not performed to his best. But again, I said last time in our video, he needs an arm put round him. He needs Soler to get firing quickly. Take him out the firing line, have a word with him, and tell him, when you come back into the team, you need to prove to us who you are. And you'll get the job.
Do you know what it is, Jay? I get what you're saying about the cup. I do. But I heard that all last season. Yeah. In last season, people were trying to say, well, no, it ain't about winning. We need to see something else. Like, we need to be entertained. Yeah. For me, Lucas Paqueta is a player at the minute who's so inconsistent. A few weeks ago against Celta Vigo, he does a lovely bit of skill, scores a great goal. And after that, we haven't seen him since. Now, is that because he's on a free? I don't like him in there. I don't know about you, Mitch, but I don't like him in the free because I feel that if he gives the ball away, the attacking team is on our goal straight away. And I'd rather he can give the ball away as a 10 because then we've got enough players to get back and cover the situation.
I personally think you should play him as a 10 or on the left if Somerville's out of form or injured or not playing. So I think he's quite good on the left, to be fair. I think he links up play well, can kind of free roam. When he's confident and he's playing on the left, he can kind of drift in midfield, inside, lay the ball off to Emerson. Yeah, I think the left works for him. But again, Somerville, I really want to see Somerville. It's a good situation to have. It's a good dilemma. But we've got to figure out soon, really, because we still haven't found our best 11, in my opinion. We're still trying to work it out.
And it will take time, though, won't it? It will take time. It
will take time, but
I've only played 4 games.
I haven't got a single clue what our best 11 is. Yeah, I would have liked to have thought after 4 games this season. I would have thought I think this is definitely the best 11. I honestly think I could put out 4 different 11s and I'd be happy with all 4 of them in different ways.
Is that not a good thing? I think that's a good thing.
I think you could. No, I don't know. I think you could figure out your best 11, Mitch. Like if we was to go through it, Areola in goal. Right, Wan-Bissaka, Emerson.
But do you start Rodriguez? Do you start Soler with him? Do you start Paqueta and Alvarez?
Yeah, but I think like the midfield is where you're going to be sort of questioning things. I don't think you're questioning things up front.
Do you start Füllkrug? Do you start Bowen? Do you start Antonio?
Well, for me, right? If you sign Nicholas Füllkrug, you sign him to start. You don't sign him to be on the bench, right? So, right, let's go through it quickly. You got Wan-Bissaka.
Sorry, one more thing, really quickly. I really wish I would have saw Guilherme given some minutes against Bournemouth. Sorry, go on, James.
That's another one, yeah. But Wan-Bissaka, Emerson, as your wing backs, full backs, yeah. Your centre half, you got Kilman.
Nah, Cresswell, mate.
Well, you know, it's what it is.
Alfred would say that.
Yeah, he probably would. Like, he's on drugs. You got Kilman, and then you got Mavropanos or Tadibo, right? So you got a toss of a coin between them two. But let's be real. That is your strongest backline that we've got available at the minute, right? You go into midfield. You got Edson Alvarez, right? He's a guaranteed start for West Ham. Lucas Paqueta is a guaranteed start for West Ham. Then you've got one more space. So you've got Soler, you've got Rodriguez, you've got Thomas Souček. So basically, it's one of three, right? That's what it is, right? And then you go up front, you've got Kudus, Bowen, and then you've got Nicholas Füllkrug or Mikel Antonio. So technically, all he's got to find is two positions. One which is at the midfield, like on the end of the midfield three, and the centre forward. It ain't like, I think he's got his strongest team there, but he's just trying to find the balance to it to a point. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
I think Soler's a big part. Soler could potentially, I don't think he will be, but it could potentially be the missing part of a slow moving midfield, I think, at the minute.
Maybe.
I was going to say, isn't this the point though? Is that there's different horses for courses, and that now we've got that diversity to our offering in the attacking areas. I agree with you. The back four is nailed on what the best back four is going to be, but you could rotate the remaining 6 players, and you could still have a good side from. You could have 2 good sides out there from your first choice in every position and your second choice in every position. You could seriously put out some decent sides, and that's the idea, right? You're going to see different people. I think this is my prediction, but I don't know enough, and I'm not in a training ground. But I think you are going to see towards the second half of the season different personnel for different types of games, because we've got a more tactically savvy manager than we had in the previous regime. So he's going to look at things in different ways. The way we adjusted against City is a prime example of that. That first half was a learning experience for Lopetegui.
Very true.
Where effectively he got it wrong in the first half. He didn't want to make subs where he didn't have to, but he made a tactical change, and we were phenomenal. So that's the idea that we're going to see. These Basque managers, there's a reason. What did we name? 4 or 5 in the Premier League at the moment, and
5.
They're all doing brilliant jobs because they are tactically better than other managers. Like, that is a fact, and that's why they're doing so well. So I think in the second half of the season, you're going to see these different personnel fully fit, fully adapted, fully gelled, and you're going to see different people for different games, not just one system, not just one best 11.
Maybe.
I hope so. It's a very hopeful way of looking at things, though. I hope so.
It's a good time to be optimistic, lads. This is the thing. There's a lot of doom merchants out there who are looking at these games and like we're here to have a discussion about what our honest opinions are, right? That's what's great about E20.
But Jay, can I say something? One second. Do you look at it as a whole? Mm-hmm. Or do you look at it game by game? Because with me, I look at it game by game. Right, I analyse the game as a whole, look at it, isolate incidents in the game, so i.e. first half, second half, key moments in each half, right, and then make an assessment at the end of each game to say, right, was that good, was that not good, and go from there. Like, some people look at it over a 4-game period and say, right, look what we've done, but no one really looks at what's happened in game to a point.
Yeah, I think I'd like to think I do a combination of the two, right? So when we looked at the City game, for example, we looked at the individual performances and how things worked tactically in that game, where we were poor in the first half and where we were really good in the second half, and looked at it just on that one game. This is a great conversation to have, because we can sit and look holistically about the first 4 games. Have we performed up to our expectation? And what does the future look like? And when I look at this as a whole, right, this is why I look at things. And when I look at Nicholas Füllkrug, I say he's still not fully fit. He's still only started 1 game. And that was with James Ward-Prowse and Thomas Souček in a flat 3 with an unfit Edson Alvarez. So I look at that game and I go, we were not good in that game. But I look at the result and what it means, minutes in the tank, and we got through. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough at the moment. Will I be saying that towards the end of the season? No, I won't. Because
when does that change for you?
I've said all along that 6 to 10 games, we're going to be building. Like, don't expect too much from that first 6 to 10 games. After 10 games, I think you'll see everyone fully fit. You'll see the style starting to come through. And you look at the games we've played so far, the games we've lost are Villa and Manchester City. Villa came too early. I'm frustrated with the fixture list because if we played Villa after they just played on a Wednesday away from home, I guarantee that result would have been different. I guarantee it. So look, we played Villa at the wrong time. So after we've seen maybe 12, 15 games and we've played the majority of teams in the Premier League, then maybe we can sit and go, okay, well, this is where it worked. This is where it didn't work. What do we think of Lopetegui so far? And then maybe have a better idea of what the actual vision looks like. So far, for me, the signs are promising. But I've said all along, 6 to 10 games, don't draw too much out of individual performances. But as long as we're moving in the right direction, I'm happy. And I think we are moving in the right direction.
Moving on to a free signing, lads. And you got Joe Matip, or was it John Egan?
John Egan, yeah.
That's sick.
What are you saying about that, Mitchell?
John Egan.
Matip...
I think even being linked to John Egan is a bit of a disgrace. That think makes me have PTSD of Allardyce times, of the Allardyce era. Like, that is just a shocking link. And it's true, because X said it. X said that he's our backup option to Matip. I personally don't get why you would rather, with the wages we've freed up as well, I don't know why the fuck, with Tim starting at the club as well, we would rather get John Egan in than Matt Hummels. That really baffles me. I really don't get that. John Matip, I can understand because he's Premier League proven, even though he's injury prone. I don't think that's too much of a problem because he will be fourth choice anyway. I wouldn't mind Matip as a fourth choice. I think that's not a bad shout. But John Egan, fuck.
All because we didn't replace Aguerd. This is the real reason, is that we let Aguerd go and we haven't replaced him. Now, for me, Matip ain't a bad signing for a free transfer. I don't think. I think he's a good signing. I think
he's
good
for Lopetegui's style of play as well because he's good on the ball. He's good at driving the ball forward.
Yeah.
Granted, he's not the fittest. He's not the fastest anymore. He's getting on, but I think he's alright. I think he's got experience as well at the top level. So I really wouldn't mind Matip as a fourth choice. Definitely.
He's 33 years old, Matip. So basically,
for 1 or 2 year deal, it's really for free transfer. We'll be on 80 grand a week, maybe 70 grand. It's really not bad, is it?
James is saying, "Who the fuck is John Egan?"
Exactly.
Ex-Sheffield United. Yeah,
ex-Gillingham, Kent boy like myself. Yeah, ex-Gillingham.
Ex-Gillingham, ex-Sheffield United. Currently on his way to West Ham on a free. Jay, what are you saying about the free transfers linked?
I don't want him. I don't get it. I honestly, we'd said again when we were talking towards the end of the window, we'd said if Aguerd goes, you have to have a replacement for him, and it looked like it made so much sense. Aguerd goes out on loan, get Trevor Chalobah in on loan, and you've got quality centre back options, and I'd have been very happy with that. If Aguerd's gone, then I don't see the point in signing an injury-prone Joel Matip to collect 70, 80 grand a week and not play. I don't see the point in John Egan. Really, both of them have just come off the back of really bad injuries. I think one of them done an Achilles and one of them done an ACL, which are both two pretty serious injuries. So you're just getting a problem that you're going to pay someone to be a problem in your treatment.
Matt Hummels is there.
So
that's the one.
Yeah, I'd said this initially, but they looked at him. Apparently, Lopetegui wanted him, and Steiden and the boys said, probably not, mate, because he's too slow and he's not going to fit, and he's not going to.
You know what? He's really not even that slow. He's not even that slow. Dortmund played a high line last season, and he was arguably the best defender.
Yeah, but I think this is the idea with the kind of style that we're going to play. If we're going to push higher up and not play as deep and not play as lower block, then if we get a ball over the top, you've got Todibo, who's an athlete. You've got Kilman, who's an absolute rock. You put Matt Hummels in there, who I really like, by the way. It's going to cause you problems, and that's the issue. So I've got no problem with any of that. I've got no issue because we haven't got.
Again, as a fourth choice, as experience and a good voice in the dressing room, is it that bad an option?
Again, but this is the point, right? Do you want to pay one of these guys the guts of 100 grand a week to be a good voice in a dressing room, or do you want to have a combination of either Edson Alvarez / Caelan Casey as your emergency fourth choice centre back? I'm fine with that. And the good thing is, these boys are on a free anyway. You don't need to sign him right now. We don't have any injured centre backs. So you could come back to him in 4, 6, 8 weeks before the free transfer deadline is and still sign him. So it's too early for me.
The thing is Hummels
Fair
any
point.
slower? Is Hummels any slower than Egan and fucking Matip?
That's why I wouldn't
No,
sign
he's
any
not.
of
He's
them.
faster than both of them.
I wouldn't sign any of them. They're not for me. I'd rather have Kane and Casey on a bench every week as an emergency option, and Edson Alvarez has proven he can play there. So I think in the interest of not wasting 70, 80 grand just because someone's a good voice in the dressing room, mate, you go and sign Jordan Henderson if you want a good voice in the dressing room.
But I personally believe Hummels is still so good that I still think he could say Mavropanos went out of fault. Say one of the defenders get injured, you've got obviously your 2 first choice centre backs in. If one of them is off form, or you want to play a low block a game where you play against Liverpool, you want to play a low block with 3 at the back. Hummels would be perfect in that back 3.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Which I wouldn't sign any of them. I'd be happy with Hummels, but they've said that apparently the regime have said that he's not the right player for West Ham. So, he's not coming. Basically,
I know, but
sadly.
it's just I liked him and I wish he came.
Yeah.
Who are you saying out of the 2 then? Matip, and I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's perfect by any means of choice, and look, it's not ideal. But if I had to pick the 2, Matip all day long.
What are you saying, Jay? Matip?
Yeah, if we've got a pick, it's got to be Matip, innit? But like I say, it needs to be a 12-month contract. It needs to be quite incentivized in terms of appearances because I just don't like it. I don't like it. So yeah, Matip if it has to, but not for me.
Right.
Is it true? So there's a 2-season long loan, by the way.
Apparently, yeah.
That's really weird. Fuck.
Yeah, 2-year loan. Right. Before we come to the end, obviously I want to get your thoughts on the transfer window, lads. Before we wrap this up, sign 9 players. Let a few Deadwood players go. I'll start off with Mitch. Mitch, what would you rate the window for you out of 10?
Nine.
Mm.
Excellent window, yeah.
Why? Why is it not a 10?
Because I think we could have got a striker better suited to the system we want to play. But that is it. That is it, I'd say.
I'm going to leave Jade till last. I'm going to say it's a high 8 for me. It really is. I don't think it's a 9. I look at this window and I look at Aguerd going and no cover, and you're going after a free transfer. I think it's a bit wrong. I think the sign of Wan-Bissaka is good. I think Rodriguez on a free is good business. The Nicholas Füllkrug Duran thing still just baffles the life out of me. It will baffle me all season until he starts kicking into gear. Füllkrug has to kick into gear, otherwise it looks like a major fuck up by the sort of
2 seasons, James.
Yeah, he is. He is 2 seasons. And what I'm saying is that the Nicholas Füllkrug Duran thing, it could come back and haunt us to a point. Tadibo loan with an obligation to buy, good signing. The Lewis Guilherme one still baffles the life out of me. I don't know about you boys, but
there must be a plan there. There must be a plan somewhere, surely.
Right, but my attitude would be: do we really need him now, or do we need to sort of
personally? I think if we could have saved them funds and spent on Duran, I think that would have been a better choice personally. But there must be a plan, so I can't really question it.
Yeah, so I'll go high 8. Jay, what you saying?
Yeah, I'm going to say 9. And on the Guilherme thing, I think I've said before, we can't judge him for at least, I don't think, a season. You can't judge him. You can't expect him to play many games. Don't expect him to get many minutes. Hopefully, we'll probably see him in the FA Cup. And the thing I take from that transfer is he's got a lot of physical growing to do. He's clearly not strong enough yet, but the signs we saw in pre-season is that he's gifted. So that's all you can expect from an 18-year-old. But it's a symbol of what we're trying to do in the transfer window, which is we're trying to combine quite shrewd signings for good prices, i.e. Guido Rodriguez. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is such a monumental piece of business. It's up there with the best pieces of transfer business we've ever done for me. That guy is top quality. So to get him for 15 mil is absurd, by the way. So we're trying to combine players that are established with lots of experience with young and exciting players as well, which is this kind of modern European style of recruitment. So I'm delighted with everything. I'm more disappointed with the outgoings. I'm happy we managed to find a club for Zuma. His time at West Ham was over. I'm a bit disappointed with the James Ward-Prowse loan, but I am happy that he's potentially got a route back to the team if he does well at Nottingham Forest. Imagine he goes to Nottingham Forest, gets 10 goals, 10 assists this season, and we go, Jesus Christ, we need him back at West Ham. Let's say one of our midfielders doesn't work out, and you've got a top quality player coming back.
I wouldn't blame Lopetegui because he has had his chances and he hasn't taken them.
Agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Which is why I'm a little bit disappointed that either it wasn't a loan with an obligation or we didn't just keep him. But ultimately, he could go out, put himself in the shop window. We could make a load of money off of him. So
I'm gutted Ings is still here and Cresswell. I know he's backup Cresswell, but even we could say he's been a servant. I get it, but he's so finished.
Cresswell deserved one more year, and it meant that we saved funds to spend elsewhere.
So did Ogbonna.
I don't know about Ogbonna. I don't know.
As a fourth choice, it would have been ideal, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's gone to Watford and he's not been snapped up by a Premier League side.
When Cresswell leaves, he'll be lucky to get someone like Watford.
But again, like Cresswell, we've got one more season of him. The guy's like spent a decade at West Ham, so But yeah, ultimately 9 out of 10 for me. I think we've done really well, and time will tell once the signings bed in. Give it another 5-6 games, and I think we're going to cook.
Any final thoughts, lads, before we make a move? Anything that's on your mind you want to let off your chest here on the After Hours?
I'm not getting in this fucking what's the word? This hype about Rodriguez, and no one will convince me otherwise until I actually see him have one good game where I think that was a good game from him. Simple as that.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts, Jay?
Trust in King Julian. Everything's going to be fine. James, try not to go to bed thinking of how much you hate Nicholas Füllkrug. It will be fine. He's going to be okay. His big German bounce is going to get on the end of one of these crosses at some point, and I will deliver you a beautiful slice of humble pie in whatever flavour you would like. Everything's going to be fine, lads. We're going to have a great season.
My thoughts
James, and I personally really want Füllkrug to smash it this season, and I really don't think he will. I actually don't think I agree with you. Unfortunately, I do. I like the geezer a lot, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it.
So, other films are available, but Psycho James is here for Füllkrug. Listen, I want him to score goals and fire us up the league. He's got on the fucking pitch and start first. But yeah, it is what it is. Right, that's enough from us. Take care of yourselves, wherever you are. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to E20 Zone TV. Hit that notification bell and all. So all the up-to-date videos. I'm going to be doing some videos this week with other people, other content creators on TikTok and on YouTube. So yeah.
Any dances, James?
Any dances? Saturday Night Fever. Let's go. Yeah, I'm saying. Right, that's enough from us. Anyway, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.